Hey folks, Curtis Brown, instructor for Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness 302. And just want to give a recap of the first week and look ahead to week 2. Thanks to everyone for posting your introduction and welcome for week 1. I think we got a good mix of students in class, some who already have started their careers in emergency preparedness, emergency management, and those who are looking ahead to work in the federal government, whether in an investigative organization, law enforcement, fire, emergency management. I think some of the core concepts from this course will be helpful no matter where you go in life in understanding emergency preparedness and incident management. So again, I look forward to the semester and learning and discussing some of these topics together. Just an update on the textbook. Last I heard, the textbook should have been coming in this past week. If it hasn't come in, I created enough cushion in the syllabus so that you could still participate in the discussion questions prior to the book's arrival. But I will check back tomorrow to get an update on whether the book has come in. You can also download it through the publisher directly. Some folks have asked questions about the independent study certifications. I'll shoot you an email back, but the certifications correlate with that week worth of work. So, for instance, the first week, the signed independent study certificate is IS 100, the incident command system. Some of you, first of all, some of you have already done these with previous courses. If you have the certificate, they can count for this course. I still request that you go back and look at the material so you're up to date and prepared for any quizzes or tests in the future. Now, for all of the certificates, even though they correlate with a certain week's worth of reading and work, you don't have to submit those until April 15th. I'll send a reminder early part of April and ask that you send all of the certificates together at one time. So hold on to those. A couple of you all need some assistance with finding them, finding how to take the course. They're on the Emergency Management Institute website through FEMA. So I'll follow up on that. So just to recap, I strongly encourage you to review the course or do the course for the week it's assigned, but you don't have to submit it until April, and the deadline is by April 15th. So just to go over the week reading, I wanted you to review the course syllabus and the supporting material thoroughly, understand each week's goal. And again, as I mentioned last week, you do not have to stop. You can keep moving forward. If a lot of these chapters are cut in half. One week you read one half of the chapter, next week you read the next half. Feel free to continue to go on. But I do stay committed to the reading schedule, and so whether it's the textbook or the materials posted on Blackboard, please stay up to date with that. Again, this is an online course, so your independent reading and studying is a core component of being successful in the course. So review the syllabus and supporting material on Blackboard, and then to look at the National Preparedness Report from 2006 and the National Preparedness Goal from September 2015. And both of these documents correlate with the reading and the discussion question for this week, because it really looks at, on a national perspective, what are our risks and threats that we face as a nation, and what capabilities do we have to build to respond, to enhance security and to be more resilient, to be able to bounce back after we deal with one of these incidents. So starting with the National Preparedness Goal, that goal really looks at how do we engage the whole community, whether it's the public sector, private sector, nonprofit, individual citizens, to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover from the threats and hazards that pose the greatest risk. So Again, one of the core components of being an emergency manager is understanding what threats and risks we face. So on the federal level, they're looking across all 50 states, all our territories, and looking at what threats we face. So it's truly comprehensive. And so that's why I want you to understand from this document the comprehensive nature of preparedness from a national level, whether it's man-made, terrorist attack, whether it's natural disaster, hurricanes, or the emergence of cyber security, or future threats that are emerging, like sea level rise. And the focus of the goal is also on building core capabilities. What do we have to invest in to be prepared for these threats and hazards? The National Preparedness Report complements the National Preparedness Goal because it gives an assessment, a snapshot in time of where we were in 2016. So it looks at across all those threats and hazards, what we've done. FEMA, DHS summarizes what nationally we've done, and then what more we have to do. Preparedness is a continuous process, so we're never 100% prepared. We're never ready for everything. So we're constantly evaluating where we are and the changing, evolving threats and hazards. And so the National Preparedness Report does that on a national broad scale, again looking at the shared responsibility, individuals, family, government, nonprofit, and private sector on the state of our preparedness in the country. So again, these are two national documents that really focuses on what does it take for us to prepare. The Incident Command System FEMA course is an introductory low-level course to begin the conversation on how do we communicate consistently and effectively during a disaster, and how do we partner with individuals possibly from all over the country. When you think about these large-scale disasters, think about the hurricanes from this past summer. Virginia sent first responders and support staff to the Emergency Operations Center, and also to support search and rescue and other activities out in Florida and Texas, and also Virgin Islands. How do all these people play well together and to coordinate and communicate effectively? They do this by adhering to the concepts of the Incident Command System. And this ensures a common language, common approach to incident management. And so we'll get further into this, but this is a good introductory course to understanding how all those different entities across different public safety disciplines and from different parts of the country can plug in and work together. For this week, we're going to be looking at our textbook and looking at our natural hazards and understanding how they impact us. And so the reading comes from chapter 2 of the textbook. And then we're also going to look at the DHS FEMA THIRA. That's the acronym for the Threat Hazard Identification Risk Assessment. Again, one of the first duties and responsibilities of being an emergency manager is understanding the threats and hazards faced by your community. And so really understanding, what threats are most likely in your area, what impact would it have on critical infrastructure, and then you can begin to start to plan for those threats. But you first have to understand and be an expert on the hazards and threats. Again, as an emergency manager, you'll communicate those to your city manager, your mayor, political leadership, in order to get the investments to build the core capabilities that you need, and to work with all the partners on the local level, state level, and possibly on the federal if you have a disaster. So this is really the baseline of understanding threats and hazards. And I have a Blackboard post asking you about which threat or hazard is discuss related to natural hazards is most likely in your area and why. And then also to look at the thyroid process and understanding that's a collaborative process that you have to pull in important partners on the local and state level. What would be the most difficult part of pushing forward with the thyroid process? So I've exceeded my 10 minutes here, so I'm gonna wrap up and say I look forward to your Blackboard posts. They're due by Wednesday at 6 p.m. and please respond to 2 other classmates by Saturday at 6 p.m. A couple of you all have sent me emails. I will be following up shortly and also posting announcements on Blackboard, so please stay up to date on that. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me, and hope you have a great week.